Sorry about that. Good. Maybe we'll start. Start from the top.
In the beginning?
Yeah, might as well.
All of that.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna record it. Okay. Welcome to the Housing Commission, September 6, 2023, regular Housing Commission meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with Housing Commission members, city staff, and members of the public participating in the Oak Conference Room and via Zoom. I will call the meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. I would like to know Vice Chair Walker.
Present.
Commissioner Pimentel.
Here.
Commissioner Heatherly.
Here.
Commissioner Merriman. Commissioner Campos. And Commissioner Patillo. We have Housing Manager Kim Wong and Management Analyst Adam Patterson. Adam, would you please provide instructions to the Housing Commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Thank you, Chair O'Neill, and members of the Housing Commission. Welcome everyone to the September 6th meeting of the Housing Commission, and thank you for attending. Staff will engage cameras and microphones to make presentations and respond to members of the Housing Commission. For members of the public who are in attendance, if you wish to provide public comment on an item on tonight's agenda, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak. For virtual participants, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling in from a landline or cell phone, please press *9. For those in person, please complete a secure card and bring to my desk. That concludes the instructions, and I return them to the chair. Thank you.
Under public comment, the public may address the Housing Commission on any subject not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the Housing Commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. You are not required to provide your name or city of residence, but it is helpful. The Housing Commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda, and therefore the Housing Commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under public comment other than to provide general information. Adam, do we have any public comment?
For members of the public who are in attendance and wish to provide public comment on items not on tonight's agenda, for virtual participants, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling in from a landline or cell phone, please press *9. For those in person, please complete a speaker card and bring to my desk. We have our first public commenter is in person. It is Lynn Bramlett. Just give me 1 moment to get the timer up on the screen, please.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Lynn Bramlett, and I know some of you. I'm the leader of a neighborhood level disaster preparedness organization called MPC Ready. And we work to follow state, federal policy and work with our government. And although our focus is on building connected neighborhoods where neighbors know neighbors and they get household and neighborhood ready, we also work at the policy level, if you will, in terms of trying to get attention on some things. So I'm here tonight to just raise a concern regarding minimizing post-disaster. May I stand over here? Is that okay? Okay. Post-disaster displacement following a major disaster. You know, I think we all know it's not a question of when, but if. And these can be minimized. And in some cases, you can't completely prevent it, but it's definitely something that, you know, it's important to address. And so we have monthly community meetings. The next one is on wildfire risk and preparedness. We're hearing from the fire marshal. In our October meeting, we'll most likely follow on ways your residents can prepare for that. But anyway, we'd like to work more closely with you. And we have actually put on some, not working as official members, but with members of the Environmental Quality Commission. Lessons learned from this storm, which actually became part of an after action report. The assistant city manager was there, the borough chief. So, you know, your housing element addressed emergency shelters, but ideally you don't have to go to one. Those aren't great places. You might be in a big room, there are rules, you can't take pets. Better, you're not displaced from your home, or if you are displaced, you can get back for your residence quickly. And some of these are low cost, some of these are medium cost, like putting attic vents to stop embers. It's the leading cause of house fires, you know, brush clearing. Even at home, you latch your kitchen cabinets, it comes, you know, to duck cover and hold on, because if that building collapses on you, people have been found and rescued. Our message isn't fear, but it's one, let's get prepared and we're all better off. And as an example of a policy, these soft story residential buildings that we have all over Menlo Park, there, I would say more than 200, because there, another resident and I kind of worked on a count. Those are known to fail, as they put it, the term. And there are things that can be done ahead of time that are relatively inexpensive, because I've gone to seminars on them. And that's something I'm working on for the housing element. But long story short, we offer to work with members here if you want to put on some additional seminars, low-cost ways to reduce possible displacements, what's available for medium cost, and then how it works after an earthquake. And so you can do things beforehand. So the offer's here. We hope to work with some of you, and just please reach out. And I brought my cards.
Thank you for your comment. So, any more public comment for item C?
So first, we have item D1, presentation from Housing Inc., the city new below market rate housing administrator. She is to make presentation of Robin Van Elfenberg and Teresa Martinez Gonzalez. My apologies if I missed.
Where would you like us to stand?
Yeah, maybe over. Yeah.
We're so excited and honored to be here. I'm Teresa. I'm Robin. Nice to meet you all. Together we're Housing Inc. So Robin and I grew up together since 4th grade, and we started working in affordable housing almost 12 years ago. All together 12 years ago, but we've both been in the industry for 25 years. And we work with cities and counties all over California and affordable home builders on their affordable housing ownership and rental programs. Here. You have your, of course, I think you can all see, you have your our slide deck in your package if you want to look at that. So again, if you want to read a little bit more about who we are, we're here. We're both born and raised proudly and raised our children in the Bay Area for the most part. Go on to the next one. This is a review, a little bit about our experience in affordable housing. So today we're going to tell you a little bit about who we are, what we do as an introduction, and hope that this is like a starting of a conversation for the years to come about working together. Want to add anything about what we're talking about today?
Yeah, so you know, a lot of background in development, focused on, like Teresa said, affordable housing really across the state in a variety of different capacities, from affordable ownership to down payment assistance programs, and also multifamily and affordable rentals. So really excited to have the opportunity to work with the city of Menlo Park and represent you know, you and work on behalf of the residents and with the great housing team.
And just some of the local experience we've had in this area in the last 12 years. Yeah, is for City of Burlingame on their rental and ownership program, and then in Los Altos, so in San Mateo County, we've been in Burlingame.
And some work in East Palo Alto as well, dating like way back in our career to one of the first affordable housing components that you know, any jurisdiction had in the Bay Area. So
our next slide is a brief review of what we're going to be working on for the City of Menlo Park and what we'll be partnering with you on, all on. Overall, we'll be managing the day-to-day administration for the rental and the ownership program. And you know that your rental ownership or rental program is moving along really well. You have about 80 units in the inclusionary program, and I believe you're in the 100 for the affordable units. And we'll be working with tenants, landlords, the city, and really working on a robust marketing and outreach plan, and really just being the overall kind of portal for the different community groups that are involved in the inclusionary housing program.
Yeah. Also working on, developing and improving policies and procedures. We're very customer service focused. That's our primary goal, right, is to serve the residents and serve the city of Menlo Park. We, are really passionate about the work we do and also about people having a really positive experience. And, we work with kind of all of the stakeholders, so we're really excited to be starting this partnership. We're still kind of onboarding things now. We've been, I think, working together about almost 8 weeks, almost 8 weeks. So we're right in transition right now, but we've had the opportunity to spend the day with housing team and really work on understanding the program. And we work with developers, city attorneys, and are looking for ways to make things even better.
So then our first date, I think, was July 12th. We've been spending a lot of time doing a deep dive into the legal agreements and the documents that are reported onto all of the properties, and then meeting with property managers and really doing an analysis of what's happening and how do we maintain what's working really well, and then how do we improve what, things that might need a little bit of polishing. A big piece of what we're doing is the loan servicing assessment and a status update, and then working on adopting a new online application and monitoring portal. And then once we're able to understand what we're working with, we will detail out a work plan for this fiscal year.
And the goal, just if I can add to that, with the online application system, is to make things even easier for applicants. So it's something that folks can log on to and really understand how the process works initially to help them through. So there's less frustration, right, with the residents and borrowers that we're working with.
Our next slide is where our from 2023. We're working with several property managers to fill vacancies, so we hope to finalize that plan within the next couple of weeks. Working on an affirmative marketing plan to make sure we're reaching all members of our community, onboarding that application system we just talked about, looking at an interim loan servicing plan, developing the manager and tenant monitoring program, and we're really well on our way to that piece. And then creating and documenting internal and external workflows for all the program components. You want to dive into our 2024?
Yeah, 2024 goals, and ultimately our goal is to, one, maintain that day-to-day interaction with clients and with residents and our customers that we're going to be working with, maintaining accurate files, launching our new loan and BMR monitoring program. It's required by most of the loans that we service. Identify any updates that we see that we might want to recommend for the BMR program guidelines. Prioritize certifications for all of the vacant units. We can ensure the housing stock is filled as quickly as possible so that we're not underutilizing those assets. Roll out our new loan servicing kind of program and process, and hopefully make it even easier for those that have down payment assistance loans to be able to pay those. And then finally work to ensure consistency in our legal documents and marketing plans for all new developments.
a good, wide breadth overview of who we are, and we're so happy to be here. We're so honored, and we hope this is the beginning of a really fun, working relationship with each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we asking questions, or we're shut down, or?
Yeah.
So this item is now open for public comment. Adam, do we have any public comment?
We do. We have a couple. I'll start with the first who raised their hand. It's going to be Jen Michelle. I will just let me get the clock up and I will give you permission to speak.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. My name is Jenny Michelle from the Coleman Place neighborhood block. I've been a longtime renting resident in Menlo Park, specifically on Willow Road, for about 15 years. We have a son who is a deaf and hard of hearing student. And I just had a couple of questions. First of all, thank you so much for your work. Oh, I'm also a commercial property manager. I also used to work in residential real estate. I really want to say thank you so much for your work. I really congratulate you. You guys are amazing. And so I have a couple of questions. I'm curious. We're getting a lot of pushback from affordable housing, and that pushback is specifically coming from single family homeowners specifically. So I'm wondering if you guys can describe the types of customers, clients, people that you directly support, like me, my family. To be clear, there is a misunderstanding that 120% AMI is actually below market rate. So in other words, $147,000 in annual income for one person is low income, which for most of us, serving you every day is outside of what we earn from either a single job or two jobs. So I was wondering if you could address that. Also, I think there's a misunderstanding of that the poor working class folk making 147K annually or below are not inherently dangerous or scary, but in fact, first responders and essential workforce. So I'm also curious, just from several different perspectives, what is your scale of projects? Do you go as low as, say, units under like 20, or I'm just curious. And then what about legal aid or education for tenants? I understand that you do a lot with, the lending piece, but I wanted to point out the tenant protection part of it. And then, just a real quick, because it was Labor Day, in honor of this area, our annual median sales price for a single family home is you need to earn about $1 million annually. If I earn $20 an hour or $40,000 a year, I need 25 jobs at the 40K to cover those costs. So I just wanted to point that out for the public. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
I'm not sure. We're not sure that. I think.
Next, we have Pam Jones.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. Pam Jones, resident of District 1 of Menlo Park, Belhaven neighborhood, the residential portion, portion of the residential portion. I am a little curious as to, one, are you managing the BMR program for rentals? That's number one. Do you have a program, or have you considered a program that would help residents to create and maintain strong financial health so they would be able to become homeowners as well as renters if you do manage renters. Is there a, if you're working with the renters portion of the BMRs, are you considering recommending what would be an appropriate scale? And this is independent of what the state and the county say that we're required to do, because the scale that we use does not work well for the residents that would like to live here or former residents who want to move back into units that have been the new units that have been developed that are all below market. And it's just something that we often don't understand is all the nuances that go into maintaining strong financial health. The second thing is I just got off of trying to do some work with an online system, and I did not scream. I cried a little bit. I spent 15 minutes on the phone. I still have to go back tomorrow. With that being said, it is sometimes the assumption that all of us are really tech savvy and have all the tools, the physical tools, to do the online work that's required, maintain that, or even to look at the information to know whether or not you're qualified, interested, or how you would, and then let alone how to fill out the forms, and then to continue to go back to them if that's required. And there are, people that do not even have a smart cell phone. And we often assume that there are people that still use landlines. And so the two things that I hope are happening is, one, there would be help for people that are doing the online, people checking back in with them to make sure that they understand, they're keeping up with the information, walking them through things as necessary. And then whenever required, to help people use the old-fashioned pen and paper. Looking forward to your work in the community, and hopefully you will be the last group we will be working with. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any more public comment for item T1?
Okay. So this item is now open for Housing Commission clarifying questions and discussion. This is an informal presentation and therefore no action will be taken on this item.
Yes, I have. I just getting blurred out, I'm sorry. Well, I just want to lead with, I am a BMR renter, and as spoken, we've seen many housing organizers, if you will. I just want to ask, what will, for the current tenants, the decertification process look like? As one of the chief complaints is, it's very invasive, it's drawn out, long and drawn out, and inconsistent in how often it is happening. So what does that look like for current renters?
I think as we're onboarding, we're acknowledging and we have the same feedback. I think that you're offering now, or that's what we've experienced, is incorporating a system that's fair and transparent that everybody buys into. And then part of what we're doing is we're working on internal and external manuals that will detail this process. God forbid we get hit by a bus tomorrow and we're gone, that somebody can come in and really adopt that same policy next year, so that there's consistency and transparency across all policies and procedures. I think a big piece of it is we're working on this online portal that can help with the certification, just make it really easy for the tenants, and then having very clear roles and responsibilities for landlords, for our work. And then also I think what we'd like to do is do tenant meetings with people and kind of explain.
That was on here.
Yeah, do a training of the process and just kind of create some community and like consistency, and also like getting feedback like from you, talking to you, and like, you know, involving everybody in these decision making processes. So we're not, we'll have more answers in a couple of weeks as we work with the property managers. There's also transition within the property managers as well. So we're all kind of jumping on board together and polishing everything that's going on and addressing all of these issues.
Okay, another question, and kind of to piggyback, as you guys missed the June recertification because of the transition. So what are they to expect now that we have Housing Inc. on board?
We'll know more, like details in a couple of weeks. I think right now what you can expect is really good customer service, transparency, being able to get a hold of us. And when we do have everything lined up and what those expectations are, that will let everybody at the same time and have a forum for people to talk to us and interact and participate in the process.
Okay, and with the goal of, you know, having that just be an annual thing, right? So once we onboard and kind of roll out the process, making it very clear, like Tracy said, doing community meetings and kind of working internally and externally on those policies, with the goal of just having that be a part of the process, right, going forward, where it's it should be pretty simple once, you know, we onboard all of that, but it's the goal of doing that annually.
It shouldn't be forced hard.
No, just, I mean, there are certain things we're gonna have to ask for, right, back to your question, it does feel invasive. Some of it is, right, we have to look at certain things, but, you know, we can make that easier. And that's our goal across the board.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for having us. Great to be here.
So the next item is the City Council approval of the 2023-24 Housing Commission Work Plan. Management Analyst Adam Patterson will introduce the item, please. This item is now for public comment. Adam, do you have any public comment?
I should just. Yeah.
We need the presentation.
No presentation, but just our housing manager Tim Wong to introduce the item, put him on the spot. Okay. Change in programming.
Yes, very. You on your toes. Yes. What we have recommended is to adopt the same work plan that the Housing Commission recently adopted as of last December, highlighting those three things: community engagement, talking about tenant rights, tenant protections, and then a longer term, when that process begins, is looking at redeveloping city properties, whether it be parking lots or what have you. And so those tasks that the Housing Commission voted to approve in December, we recommended carrying on, understanding that you just heard the consultants. I'm new, there's some staff transition. So in the interim, to maintain the status quo, and as everyone gets settled, we can start talking about potentially, as it comes next September, to talk about other items that the Housing Commission may want. But for now, continue with the current goals. So that concludes staff's presentation.
For members of the public who wish to provide public comment on item 1, for virtual participants, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling from a landline or cell phone, please press *9. For those in person, please complete a speaker card and bring to we have one public comment line. Pam Jones.
Good evening again, and thank you. I am really hoping that there is a really intense focus on displacement. And I realize that we do have limitations with staff, but it will make more sense is if we do some documentation, collecting data as to how many residents that we've actually lost since the last survey was done, which is, I can't remember the year, I think it was probably 2019 when the disinvestment study was done. We need to really highlight how significant of a loss that we've had in this city and in District 1 particularly, so that the program that we come up with really does have some teeth in it, which is something that we have been unable to do in the past. So I'm really looking forward to the work that's going to come out of the commission. And I thank you in advance, because I know that it'll be very robust. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next, we have Lynn Bramlett.
Hello again. So I see the housing element was kicked back to the city, and I'm sure the staff is devastated. As I look through the letter from Paul, whatever, who he is, and did some preliminary studying of some elements that had been approved in some of our nearby cities. And I kind of had the feeling that some of it involves some quantitative data, among other things. So this is just a first look. But I did want to say that it's possible that some of these other conditions could be of help if that's what they're looking for, like more metrics or maybe even financial analysis. So I just want to plant the idea to the staff. I also happen to be now on the Finance and Audit Committee, and we're discussing our work plan tomorrow night. But it is possible that, this is a looming problem. To me, it should be a top city priority, getting that approved, or we face more and more, I just think it's important, and maybe there's something that some of these other commissions could do in a helpful way, or maybe that even for your work plan, though I get the status quo, truly, that makes a lot of sense, but it just feels like this is all hands on deck time. On a related note, I think there is interest in getting more grants in the city. I've heard that at council meetings. I've had discussion with people. I'm very interested in it too, and the money is there. I'm convinced of that. But you've got to be ready, to apply for it and judicious about what you're applying for. So anyway, the more we all work together, the better, as the African proverb goes. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, work together. And I do believe that.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any other public comment for item E1 for that or commission discussion? Yeah.
So this item is now open for Housing Commission clarifying questions, discussion, and recommendation to review and recommend to the City Council approve of the 23-24 Housing Commission work plan.
I'd like to make a comment. I think that we should focus or begin to look at displacement as well as disaster readiness. I think that's important. There was a meeting last month, and I think it was public comment that Gateway Rising has gone up and they're taking applicants, but the ones who are displaced are not going to be able to come back, at least more than half of them, because they're bringing on other people from elsewhere who are going to take up some of those units. So we lose those people who had to leave the city. So I do think it's important that we in the near future focus on, or even now, displacement and disaster readiness. And I'll just leave there.
I believe we do have a program for displacement people to come back, right? Within 3 years, they can come back. The only issue is, how do they know that they can come back? That's the problem, is how do they know that they are allowed to come back as a displaced resident?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, if they move far away, very far away, like, and how would they know that they can come back? That's the only question is, how's that information gonna go out?
Do we have a way of informing people about the,
When people move out, they move out. I have a friend, an elderly friend, Grace, who lived here, married, widow, raised a child. She was forced to move out in her 70s. She used to go to Menlo Church right here with me. And she was forced to move out, I think, to the East Bay, somewhere like more than 2.5 hours away. She moved first to Hayward, which is only what, 45 minutes, 50 minutes away. But then she still couldn't afford it, so she had to move all the way further, and now she's not going to our church anymore. There's no way of her knowing unless I tell her, right? And I have told her that you can come back, because there is I think there's within 2 years, 2-3 years that they can come back. Yes, so, but the only thing is, I know her, so I can tell her, hey, Grace, come back.
maybe that's something in the work plan and we can look into, unless there's a plan in place. I mean, it's a challenge because, like you say, people kind of scatter. And then, how do we get in touch with them? Maybe that's something we can add or look into.
Yeah.
About displacement.
Yeah, displacement, as the chair mentioned, since displacement is mostly private transactions, if you will, it's very difficult to track. But I think as the housing commissioner, you are members of the community, and when you talk about engagement and outreach, this is certainly something like you can inform your friend and just start getting the word out, because it is, I mean, there are housing element programs for anti-displacement and tenant relocation, some of those, but those are in the future. But in the interim period, I think that is one good way to contact, because it is a lot about personal contacts. Everyone has been impacted by anti-displaced friends or family. And so this is, I think, one way that you can start spreading the word. And if there are other ways, we'll certainly think about it. But I think at least initially, word of mouth is good. And we can see if we can partner on that for you.
I just want to make sure that in the work plan, I did get to every single part. It doesn't say much about displacement, but I just want to make sure that our original program will allow people to come back within, I think, 2 or 3 years before they can come back as though they were resident, to have priority in terms of getting rental units and housing and things like that.
Yes. Displaced persons that have occurred in the past.
We still have that. We still have that. That's I think that's another thing is Vice Chair Walker want to make sure that we are inclusive of those folks. I mean, most of these folks are elderly people anyway. You know, they don't know where to go because now they are retired. You know, they live on only small sums of Social Security monthly, and it's hard for them to live in the area that they grew up, get married, have children, and then in their golden years, they are forced to move far away from the only place that they know. And that's just doesn't seem very good to me. I think maybe we should put something in that there has to be. I think there wasn't some kind of allowance, like within 2-3 years they can come back and utilize our low income housing resources.
Okay, we will take a look. Forgive me, I'm not 100% familiar with all the different developments. And so let us go back, take a look, and we can report back to the Housing Commission about what efforts the city is doing and will do as part of the housing element.
Thank you.
When it comes to displacement.
It's a good idea to include it, wrap it into the community engagement as well. I'm sure it's already being wrapped in.
I think Commissioner Pimentel has a comment.
Thank you.
Just following up on Vice Commissioner Walker's comments and Pam Jones' comments, I think we should create a third item on our work plan regarding displacement. And I think 3 things to work on for the year is about right. If we put too much more in there, then we won't get anything done. But displacement is a huge issue, especially in the Belhaven area. And I have a few suggestions. Tim, I think the idea of putting in the public record all the various things we are doing and reviewing that with the board would be a great agenda item for the next meeting, just to say, these are the programs we do have in place. These are how they work. This is how the community could access them. And including that report on our city website for the Housing Commission, I think would be a useful way to maybe get the word out. Another thing that I would ask is, and I don't know how much staff time this would take, and it may be something we already have, but is there an inventory of affordable housing units in Menlo Park that we could put again on our website and fully accessible to the public? And if not, I think that would be a great element to add to this work plan for the displacement question or work stream. You guys know if we have an inventory today?
There is one website. I can point you in that direction.
Oh, great.
Where it's kind of static, so I think one of the goals of working to make that more dynamic kind of change.
Great. Maybe that could be a bullet point of let's ask the city council for the resources to update that and make it more dynamic or at least more up to date and feature prominently on our housing website. Maybe if somebody's saying, I'm curious about housing in Menlo Park, they might find that. A third thing that we might consider, again, on the website, or potentially even with a mailing to the neighborhoods that are most affected by displacement and gentrification. I know the city sends out mail stuff all the time. It should, of course, we have everybody's address. We could say, hey, we're looking for 2 things. First, an inventory of affordable housing, maybe a questionnaire that people, I don't know if you get it, what kind of response rate you'll get, but you might learn if there's some inventory out there that might not specifically be defined by the city as affordable, but might be priced affordably in the market. So landlords might want to publish vacancies or opportunities where they're trying to keep rents affordable. Likewise, we could invite our residents to provide us with descriptions of incidents of housing discrimination, gentrification, lack of affordability. We use these words, but until you know your friend is getting displaced or your neighbor or the kid on your Little League team had to move to Modesto and can't be on your Little League team anymore, you hear about these types of incidents colloquially, and maybe it would be useful for us to create visibility for this subject by writing those stories out, asking for names and contacts, phone numbers, so that we can actually understand what happened and how those things played out. So that might, on one hand, create awareness, but on the other hand, might give us some better data to understand what's really happening. Because I think it all feels so colloquial, and there's a limited amount of data that's available.
Well, it's a face to the story, to the statistics. I think people have a misconception about who we're talking about. Or we're talking about people needing affordable housing.
And then my last idea in this regard could be a citywide, again, I say mailing, but I don't know, I'm not a marketing person, it could be any form of communication. But the HIP housing program that allows folks, especially older folks, maybe who are for one reason or another living in a house that's too big for them, to rent out a room or 2 or whatever. I've always loved that program because it's a creative solution that helps everybody, right? You can create a cheap room for somebody to live in and a little cash flow for, maybe a pensioner. And so few people really understand what that program is or how to access it on either side, both supply and demand. So I think bringing this up in the context of displacement might be an interesting way for us to.
Great,
And maybe, by the way, we could ask the city for some resources, like to do a mailing or to put up signs or to improve the website to make some of these things more affordable. I know it's always an issue of staff time and resources, but you know, the council, I think, would be very open to allocating more resources to this kind of stuff.
So do you have any other comments?
I have another comment.
Okay.
So I guess my question was, I'm not sure how we're providing feedback to staff, or do we have to vote?
So
Today?
that's the next step, Commissioner Pemberton. We can vote and you can vote yes, but with condition that this part of what you're talking about, the displacement, including you to, Vice Chair Walker, to add this into the work plan with the condition that yes, but add these things in. You can do that.
If it's all right with Commissioner Walker, I'll second her motion to add this to the work plan, and staff, if you can interpret the ideas that we've all thrown out and include them in the work plan.
Or do we do
that would be great. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little direction. I understand you want to focus. So number one goal is community engagement, which does include anti-displacement efforts. So maybe number two, we just carve out the anti-displacement efforts. And maybe the goal is enhance the city website. You had asked for an affordable housing, maybe affordable housing database, which we do have, like Adam said, needs to be updated, but to provide maybe clearer displacement not displacement resources, that's wrong, you know, because the HIP housing link is on our website, but it is not as user-friendly as it could be. So maybe looking at making the city's resources for anti-displacement more readily available as part of, and then additional things can be added. But I see anti-displacement efforts, improve website, update the affordable housing database. The creation of displacement stories that I don't know if we can put on the website or not, but we'll try to
there's a
incorporate some of those things into anti-displacement goal number 2, or try to humanize displacement, putting a face on it.
Clarifying question. Will the anti-displacement efforts incorporate what Chairman Ewan said about the program of 2 or 3 years, being able to come back, or what does that look like, the anti-displacement effort?
Well, I
think
think
that for us to go out.
I think those, you could say, have been accomplished, if you will, in that that Commissioner Pimentel asked for future, or there was a desire for present and future displacement efforts. So as part of that, we can say, for example, in certain projects, we have preferences for those who are displaced in Belhaven. In addition, we can highlight those housing element programs that will that deal with anti-displacement, and we can provide a list of those programs that the city will be working on with their timeframes. And so I don't know if that's part of the work plan, but we can certainly present what the city has done that can show displacement efforts already occurring.
Well, I just for the work plan, maybe we can just talk about the procedure for getting the work plan when you guys are hammering it out. Because this when I was on the work plan committee and subcommittee, and we drafted something and sent it to the staff. Do we do that again, or do you take all of this and metabolize it and incorporate it into the plan?
I think would be best if you gave it a first shot. The only thing is, the work plans are supposed to be approved by the council by the end of September. September. So the next meeting is, we're planning on packaging a number of work plans from the different commissions for the September 26th. I'm saying that because the deadline is right around the corner. And so if the Housing Commission in the next few days can put together maybe an initial sentence, a few sentences of what it would like to achieve as part of the annual plan, then we can take that and refine it or make some changes. But I think it would probably be best for the Housing Commission to get the initial shot.
Okay. So, are we ready to make the motion?
No, I have more comments.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, by the way, for taking the lead on trying to write that stuff up. There's on what is now item number 2, focus on the development of affordable housing on public lands. I'd like to suggest that we consider being more specific and more directive to the staff. So we've been talking about this for 2 years. I don't think anything material has been done, but I could be wrong. Maybe you guys could bring us up to speed. I'd like to specifically suggest and request that the city council provide staff resources to do this, to create a RFP, a request for proposals that would go broadly out to developers anywhere, to say, we have these 8 parcels of publicly owned parking lot land in downtown Menlo Park, and we would like to solicit your ideas with no constraints as to how you might use these to increase housing stock and affordable housing stock in Menlo Park. And I think it would make, to the point made previously by Lynn, it may be a tool that we could use to get our housing element actually more likely to be accepted by the HCD. If we get specific about saying we're moving towards authorizing a lot of housing on the downtown parking lots. And as long as we say things like focus on, and it might include, nothing's ever going to get done. Is my suggestion. So I'd like to sharpen that language with a specific recommendation from this Housing Commission that we ask the city council to allocate the necessary resources to do an RFP, to run an RFP process, to solicit developer ideas on how to use our downtown parking lot for housing.
Great idea. If I could just interject that is already in the housing element to achieve development of 345 affordable units on a combo of city-owned parking lot sites. And the time frame is initiate a feasibility study in 2023, issue an RFP for development 2024, complete development entitlements in 2025, and complete development by 2027. So
and who came up with 326 units?
345.
345.
I think my guess is they probably looked at specific parking lots.
Who were they?
Planning staff, the city staff looked at the size of the parking lots, gave it an assumed density, and said based on.
So this is what I'm trying to get at. So we could diminish that resource. And I'm sorry, I'll try and wrap this up. We could diminish that resource by not optimizing it, or we could let the market come bring us some ideas.
Okay.
And I'm specifically asking, and I'm asking my fellow commissioners, if this is something that you guys support. I think we could be more specific with the city council. If this turns into a planning exercise that takes 4.5 years to get anything done for 345 units, we only have 3,400 more units before we're ready to meet our housing element requirement. So, it's the only land we have that's not developed, or it's some of the only land we have that's not developed, and I think we ought to put.
This number, because I think the number seemed a bit low to me, considering when I was advocating for this, I was advocating for the lot behind both sides of Santa Cruz, from El Camino to down to that is a Fremont Park. There are parking lots on both sides, and also on the other side of Oak Grove as well. So we do have 3 sections of several blocks. So and I had proposed that I don't know, but I maybe we should meet with planning commission again, but I just think that we should have at least 4 levels. The first level is for business rental, and then second, third, fourth should be for housing, and only for affordable housing for us to make the quota for our housing element. We are not. This is not a project for any other kind of housing other than affordable housing. I have no idea at this point where we are, and we would like to have an update on that, actually, if we can, Tim.
About the housing element or this particular?
This particular, I want to see where they are. I mean, are they utilize every available parking structure, parking lot, because they can do this parking underground and on the, like I said, the ground floor could be for public, for business, so that, to bring income to the city, to support, to pay for all the units. I mean, it's really big. We're talking about lots, adjacent to Menlo, adjacent to Santa Cruz, and adjacent to Oakwood. And that's about 6-7 blocks of downtown area. And I would like to know, because at this point I don't know what the plans are. I don't see any conceptual.
There's no process.
Yeah, there's
other than what Tim described.
You just told us.
And Chairman Nguyen, if I may, you said something important, that you were talking about 3 or 4 floors and this amount for commercial and that amount for housing and all of it affordable. I'm fine if that's what you would like your position to be, as it's reflected in the report to the city. What I'm proposing is no restrictions. Let's let the market tell us what they need, and if they need to have a mix of market rate housing in order to get a lot of affordable housing, great. If we needed to do underground parking or surface parking or parking on the 6th floor, let's let the market suggest to us how we could create more housing downtown, and not prescribe that it needs to be a certain density or a certain height or a certain color. Let's see what comes out of it, and that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I'm up with that. It's just that this proposal was approved by that we suggested in the Housing Commission, and it was approved in January, and this is now September, and I don't know where we are, and that would be nice for the Housing Commission to understand where we are in the process, because we have to meet the quota, even if we won't be forced by the state of California to do this, that as a city, we ought to have this done, like.
Okay. I can be happy to provide you the background of this particular program. You want to know which sites and those types of things. So
I would like the maximum every single public, parking area in downtown Palo Alto. Downtown Menlo Park.
But I'll try to get you the background information about the formation of this particular.
I'll get on to background the entire a month.
So when I call for motion, you can vote yes with the condition that we want to add this to the work plan. This is how you all can do, you don't have to do a blanket yes. You got to do a blanket yes with this and this and this, and that has to go to the city. So they will see that what each one of us are requesting to be in the work plan. So it doesn't have to be a blanket yes. Okay, so do we have a motion?
Yes, I motion, that we accept the recommendation with a third item added to the work plan. With the focus of anti-displacement, whatever I missed, John, please.
Nailed it.
Add it on there. Yeah, with the third work plan item being anti-displacement.
Okay, we have second?
Second, if you'll consider a friendly amendment that we also provide greater RFP and market solicitation for ideas not constrained by 345 units or density or whatever.
Okay, Commissioner Litch, your vote?
I approve. I agree, and I'll write something up.
Okay. And I for me as well.
Roll call, Commissioner Campos, absent. Commissioner Leach.
Aye.
Commissioner Merriman, absent. Chair Onat.
Aye.
Commissioner Pimentel.
Aye.
Commissioner Portillo, absent. Vice Chair Walker.
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0.
Okay. Okay, so, do we have any individual commissioner updates?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Vice Chair.
So the last time we were here, Samaritan was here, and a comment came up about visibility in the Belhaven area. And it was brought to the Housing Commissioner's attention that they did not have a venue. And I was able to connect them with a venue. They're in their final logistics and working out the details, but it's looking like they are going to be able to be visible in the Belhaven area. So I just wanted to drop that out there.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Walker. That's awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? How about any recommendation for future agenda?
Update on the downtown parking plan would be great.
Yeah, I agree completely. We need to know what's going on, if it's been approved, we'd like to know who the developers is, and we would like to see plans, which type of plans will have to happen. Just anything that will.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. So staff will provide staff updates and announcement.
No updates, just for the next meeting. We will have, also presentation on Project Sentinel. Okay. As kind of similar to, Samaritan. Also, and update on the downtown.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Ken. So, I guess I will adjourn the meeting. It is now 7:38 p.m. Thank you so much, Adam.